There's a truth about Rottweilers that breeders don't say out loud. Not because they're lying, not because they're bad people, but because some truths don't sell. Some truths don't fit into the glossy brochures, the Instagram posts, or the sales pitch. And yet, these are the truths every potential owner needs to hear before bringing this dog into their life. Because once you do, it changes everything. The Rottweiler is not just a dog. It's a mirror. It reflects everything you are and everything you're not. And if you're not ready for that, it won't just fail to protect you. It will unravel your entire household. Most breeders will tell you the Rottweiler is loyal, protective, intelligent, and that's all true. But what they don't say is that the Rottweiler doesn't give that loyalty away for free. You have to earn it. And if you don't get half a dog. You get a loaded weapon with no operator's manual. A dog that watches you, questions you, and takes matters into its own jaws if you hesitate too long. Breeders will tell you they're great family dogs, and they can be. But they won't warn you that this is a breed that gets deeply attached to one or two people. That if you don't socialize it correctly from an early age, it might not just mistrust strangers, it might overcorrect. It might step into situations where it wasn't needed and escalate them. You won't hear them talk about the emotional sensitivity. How this dog doesn't respond well to shouting, punishment, or inconsistency. How one moment of unfair treatment can cause weeks of emotional withdrawal. This isn't a dog that forgets. It watches, it remembers, and it stores every experience as a data point to decide who deserves its trust and who doesn't. Breeders love to talk about temperament, but they won't tell you what happens when a Rottweiler bonds with someone emotionally immature. Someone who flips moods. Someone who yells, pulls the leash hard, then expects obedience the next day. The dog doesn't rebel, it disconnects. And that's when accidents happen. Not because the dog is bad, but because you broke the connection and didn't notice. Breeders often highlight physical traits, broad chest, powerful head, dark mahogany coat, but they don't talk about the intensity in the stare. How a Rottweiler doesn't look at you, it reads you, every day. And if you're not leading with calm confidence, it will either ignore you or replace you. This isn't a breed that begs to be led. It needs to believe in your leadership. If you confuse volume with authority, you'll fail. If you rely on force instead of presence, you'll fail. If you're inconsistent in your energy, you'll confuse the dog. And confused Rottweilers don't ask for clarification. They make decisions. Most breeders don't warn you that the Rottweiler won't protect you just because you paid for it. It protects what it respects. If you haven't earned that, all you've got is a heavy liability that looks impressive in photos, but won't listen when it matters. They won't tell you that your Rottweiler might grow into an adult that no one in the family can control, because you skipped the critical imprinting window between 8 and 16 weeks. They won't tell you that the dog you buy for protection might actually become a threat if you raise it with fear or confusion. And they definitely won't say this: not everyone deserves a Rottweiler. Not everyone is stable enough, present enough, consistent enough, emotionally honest enough. Because this dog doesn't follow commands, it follows character. And if your character isn't grounded, it won't follow you anywhere. It may tolerate you. It may obey you in front of others. But in moments of pressure, when it counts most, it'll make its own choice. And you might not like the outcome. Breeders will tell you about drive, about prey instinct, about structure. But they won't tell you that if you don't give this dog a job, if you don't challenge its mind, build emotional routines, offer calm structure, it will invent its own job. That job might be controlling every guest who walks through your door, or blocking off the hallway when your child runs, or guarding food it never used to care about. This is not aggression. This is misplaced responsibility. And it happens when the human disappears from the leadership role. They won't say how dangerous it is to raise a Rottweiler on affection alone. That love, without leadership, creates a dangerously unstable protector. That this dog isn't looking for cuddles, it's looking for clarity. They won't warn you that some Rottweilers won't tolerate nonsense, won't tolerate rough play, and won't tolerate your emotional instability, because they've been bred to manage real threats, not fragile feelings. And when that kind of dog lives in a chaotic household, it doesn't settle. It either controls or implodes. But here's the truth they really won't say out loud. When raised properly, with fairness, structure, presence, and respect, a Rottweiler becomes something sacred. Not just a pet, not just a guard dog, but a force. A presence that holds the family together, that senses tension before anyone else, that places itself between you and stress, that grounds your children, that shadows your steps, not out of fear but out of pure, deliberate loyalty. It becomes a partner, a protector, a presence you never knew you needed, until one day you realize it's the only reason you feel safe in your own home. And that's why breeders don't say this out loud. Because it's not something you can sell. It's something you have to live. You have to earn. You have to show up for. And most people won't. Most people want a dog that obeys, a dog that guards, a dog that looks tough. They don't want the responsibility of raising a living, breathing, thinking guardian that is silently watching them every day and asking, "Are you worth protecting today?" The Rottweiler isn't for everyone, but for the right person, it's life-changing. And if more breeders said that out loud, maybe fewer Rottweilers would end up abandoned, misunderstood, or destroyed for doing what they were designed to do in the wrong hands. If you can't lead with emotional consistency, don't get one. If you don't have time every single day for bonding, structure, and reinforcement, don't get one. If you're choosing a Rottweiler for your ego and not your energy, don't get one. But if you're ready to be seen, truly seen, every day by an animal that will mirror your best and worst traits, if you're ready to build trust brick by brick through presence, not punishment, if you're ready to lead without dominance and love without weakness, then yes, get one. And watch what happens when the most misunderstood dog on earth chooses to make your safety its full-time mission. That's the truth no one says out loud, but someone needed to.